The harsher the desert, the better the oasis. The harder the journey, the sweeter the destination. In Dark Souls, you die, you get mad, and then you get to a certain point where you think to yourself, give it another go, or fuck it, I'm done. People quit. They decide the game is utter bullshit and not worth it. Others push through in spite of the hardship. When you have to deal with those wheel skeletons in the catacombs or in the painted world, there are two types of people. This is dumb and gay. This game sucks, and the fanboys could blow me. Or, well, that sucks. But hey, now I know. One is more dismissive, and the other is more adaptive. Both acknowledge the dreadful experience, but one of them is aware that dwelling on it too much is just a waste of time. It only prolongs any progress. Things will happen. You'll have to accept it. Learn and understand from it, grow from it, move on forward. Overemphasizing on the issue will halt any moving on from that issue. If you've ever seen Meet the Robinsons, you know this phrase, but to put all of this simply, keep moving forward. When you enter the kingdom of Lordran, you start in an unknown location before realizing that this will be your home location where everything is centered around. Firelink Shrine. From here you have 3 directions that you can go. The Undead Burg, the Catacombs, or New Londo Ruins. You're not forced to go in a certain path, or even told which one to go first, but there is a more ideal option. As you go down the more ideal path, the Undead Burg, you find locations that connect or loop back to each other. A wave of familiarity rushes you. Hey, I've been here before, I know exactly where I am. This is only more apparent when you start the game with the Master Key. You can see how Darkroot Basin is connected to the Undead Burg, and you can now essentially loop around through Undead Burg, Darkroot Basin, Undead Parish, and back again. With this, bonfires are not only a symbol of hope, but a sort of flag post for all these different locations that connect. The lack of bonfire locations, it wasn't for the sake of difficulty, it was for a sense of location and progression. That's why you don't have the ability to fast travel anywhere until after the first half of the game, because the first half of the game is all about discovery. When you think of Undead Parish's bonfire, you should immediately think of the one right above Andre. For Anor Londo, you should think of the one right at the start, or the one right before Ornstein and Smo, or the one right before Dark Sun Gwendolyn. So before you know it, Lodren feels secondhand to you. You're more familiar with the world around you. It's like when you get a new job or go to a new school, the building, it feels big, it's very unfamiliar, but once you're there for a while, you become more familiar with it. It starts to feel a little smaller. You get a little more acquainted with it, and you feel more comfortable in it. In life, you always find yourself in new places or situations, and all you gotta do is recognize the situation, let yourself process it in a healthy manner, understand, grow, move forward from there. Dark Souls is no exception. Life is the Dark Souls of life. Is the Dark Souls of life. Is the Light Town to finally ring in the second bell. Ornstein and Smo to amazing chest ahead. The Undead Asylum to defeating Gwyn, the Lord of Cinder. The harsher the desert, the better the oasis. Feeling a satisfaction after beating the game makes all the hardship worth going through. Going hollow in Lordran means to lose oneself. Lose all life and soul, meaning and passion, direction and reason. The curse you get in the game symbolizes depression, and going hollow is what it leads to, losing the willingness and strength to continue. Don't you dare go hollow.
Be safe, friend. Don't you dare go hollow.
I find Dark Souls really standing out from all the other Fromsoft games. It's truly a work of art, even more so than Elden Ring. You can argue that Elden Ring is fundamentally the better game, with smoother gameplay, better and more diverse combat, the whole 9 yards. But for me, after I beat Dark Souls, I had this sort of bittersweet feeling of satisfaction and melancholy that I didn't really feel for Elden Ring. I felt great about finally beating Dark Souls after holding it off for so long, but I found my journey so engaging that it sucked knowing that the journey was over. Bed of Chaos, the Wheel Skeletons, Capra Demon, and Blighttown, they can all go fuck themselves. But I would be more than willing to deal with all that again if it means that I can play the game for the first time again. And I played the game at the right time in my life too, without going into it. It was a pretty hard time in my life. At this point, I've already played Dark Souls 3, and it became one of my favorite games ever. But after playing through Dark Souls 1 during this dark period, I found it very cathartic. It's like the game was just screaming at me, keep going. Not saying this game like saved my life or anything like that, I'm not going that deep. I already had a good understanding of not giving up. But playing a game for the first time where the entire point of the game is about not giving up, it was just at the right place at the right time. And I now fully understand why Dark Souls is held as a masterpiece and a work of art. It's up there with my favorite games of all time now, and I like it more than Dark Souls 3. So when you get to the point in your life where you figure out what you're doing, feel healthier, or you just got your shit together in some way, shape, or form after the very, very low points in your life, it's such a relief. It should be a learning moment that when things get hard, it'll make it easier to know there will guarantee be a time where everything will work out. Everything works out eventually. Be patient and give it time. Instead of worrying about the long wait, focus on what you gotta do now. Adapt to your situation and keep going. Don't let anything interfere with you. And before you know it, you made it to where you want to go. But you won't ever make it if you don't do anything about it. You can get mad, sad, or both, but neither one can stop you. You keep moving forward. And don't you dare go hollow. What a good little lesson. Audio stopping now.